Hi there, Trash Fam, and welcome to this week's stream of The Adventures of the USS Iskandar. I say this week's, this is the game that we run fortnightly, and my god, we have managed to stick to our gaming schedule, so bravo us. We should point out that while we are maintaining our schedule, our beautiful GM Mike is incredibly ill today, and so is a beautiful angel hero for actually coming and gaming for your delight. But we beg your indulgence because he's adorable and might be in a lot of pain. For those of you who have come here expecting a standard trash game, I'm sorry to tell you that I am not GMing today, and therefore we are not sticking to the trash rules of player interaction, where you will get to muck about with the game. Hey, you never know. Maybe I'll let you do that when I'm GMing a session of this game, just to add a random element of chaos into what's going on, which basically means interiority will blow up the ship and we'll have the session where we are crash landed on some planet or other. What that means is you cannot spend your trash bags and you will not be saving them, but we urge you to stick around anyway. This is, as you can probably tell if you are perceptive, not a standard trash game, in that the only member of the crew is me, Praxis Descends. However, the game will also be including some pretty excellent people, being as they are Emily, to my right. I might get it right this time. Kath. Kath?
Try again.
No, you're good. It's fine.
Kath?
I am everywhere.
And of course, Mike as our beloved universe and GM. The purpose of this game, the USS Iskandar, is that the four of us constitute the crew, playing primary and secondary roles that you can see below us. And we will take it in turns to hot seat GM games. And this one is the, I believe, third episode of the plot arc known as Stasis. And what I will do is I will hand you over to Mike now, who is going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on with the crew of the Iskandar.
So last time on Star Trek Iskandar, the crew had come across the ruins of a 20-year-old Galaxy-class ship, the USS Resovski. A boarding party had been sent, and whilst they were separated briefly by transporter malfunctions, they experienced some shenanigans with strange energy readouts and things not working as they should. They did find on this ship, as well as some spooky goings-on, an alien in a pod, a life form of which was not recognized by any of them and did not feature on Starfleet's extensive alien or xenobiological database. So they transported the alien on board and have all been issued various tasks. Dr. Arkady Burov was pioneering investigations into the alien and discovered some interesting things about the way it has been kept in stasis. Let's think. Yeah, that was actually the only... Oh, no. Ensign Casey, who is my character. He doesn't feature on the below bar, but he's my character.
He is the universe.
He is the universe. He's a sweet young boy. He has been championed with recovering data from the corrupted computer core.
Actually, I think technically we left him working with Dr. Burov and just some NPC spod. It was to force him to have to keep working with Strange.
That's true.
Because the Thumb didn't care.
I do believe that Dr. Burov had in fact separated Casey and Strange to work at different parts of the labs to stop the bickering.
Separated them. And... That is 100% true.
No word of a lie.
That is no word of a lie.
So when we left it, Commander Talandra and Captain Athan were in the ready room, reading through the remnants of one of these salvage logs, and were getting the odd word such as Romulan, life form, cold, and realized that contrary to what the computer systems were telling them, the air was misting in front of their mouths and the temperature had dropped significantly.
Yeah, that's weird shit.
we had a brief glimpse at the Ensign Casey, who was in his quarters asleep, and woke up realizing that he was not alone he was not alone in his room. And then we cut to,
which is terrifying for all of us.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we cut to Lieutenant Strange, who had just gone down into engineering and found one. I've got the name written down. Rosie Alders.
Rosie Alders. Ensign Alders.
Ensign Alders.
The late.
With her back to him, long into what should have been her rest cycle, stood kind of pawing and touching at a replicator that she'd been working on. And as Strange made a very cautious circle around her, he realized that her eyes had completely clouded over white and mist was escaping her mouth despite the
Trash audience, is Mike still quiet? Over.
Ooh.
I've been receiving secret messages from the trash cosmos.
Trash cosmos.
Look, our brand, all right, is just to put the word trash onto everything,
It's fair.
and it's fine.
Trash Twitch says yes. That Mike is still.
You don't get to translate what trash chat says. You don't speak trash.
I'm learning, okay?
That's fine. We appreciate all those that try and learn.
I may never fully understand the ways of the trash, but I
You
can
will.
try.
One day you will be true trash.
We're like trash contractors right now. It's fine.
Better contractors than trash
How
compactors.
about now? Let me know if I've gotten louder now. Oh no.
I should probably actually just like check my messages, because like I'll get those immediately rather than waiting for the delay. I realised I missed a previous message, which was, wait, Kath is fine. Make Emily talk. Like I could just go, stop everything. Emily, use your words.
Okay. Words.
Can you up your gain?
My gain.
Can you
I would love to.
I can go find a heavy thing and
can you
lift it.
protein intake?
I mean, obviously you're fine to us, so it's going to be some sort of stupid input shit through thingy.
Yeah. I'm
Haha.
looking at-
Technical words.
You only got 1 week where everything worked fine. Now you've got the curse of me. You are the 8-year-old
Figure it
now.
out. It is definitely coming through the right microphone. Advanced audio properties. Where is gain? Super professional streaming.
Hey, look, the first ever episode of this that is mercifully lost to the ether was just half the session of me going, what about now?
Do buttons.
And then like having my phone being like, I'm just checking it.
You're right. It's probably not
It's
that.
fine. We'll just bicker amongst ourselves.
Look
And
up
also,
the Zoom,
most of that episode consisted of us talking about how sad we were about dead Gwen.
look up the Zoom settings. Look up the Zoom settings.
Look up the Zoom settings.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Wait, no.
Pretty. Why don't you just drop into the chat between you, me, and Mike, rather than I?
I don't think you understand how this works.
I really
You are
love that I'm
translating
talking-
trash for us.
I love
We
that I'm
do not
talking
speak
at
trash.
my phone like she's in it.
The problem
Pretty
is
You mean
ideal. Can you
she's
hear
not
me?
in your
it
phone?
won't be coming
Can
through the
you?
Zoom settings.
Oh,
it'll
it
be coming
vibrated shit.
Star Trek.
Fuck my life.
It won't be coming
Like
through the Zoom
paranormal
settings.
activity in here.
Audio input capture, please.
So Star Trek is a game that we will be playing.
Does anyone want to do like you do it like a
And
better
at the
recap?
end of this, well, it ended, I believe, with Ensign What's-Her-Face, technical term, turning
Yeah,
around and
and
being
Ensign
up some
What's-Her-Face
sort of
turning out to not
motherfucking
have quite
cold
the same-
zombie.
Almost
I'm
certainly.
doing a bit
We
of
don't know that she's a
game work
zombie.
now.
Not
Okay.
every engineer that's
Let me
strange
know how
like
the audio
ends
is
up
now.
dead.
Yeah, the point of talking over Mike is difficult.
It's fine. No, I am hosting. Why am I talking
Yes,
to you?
respond in immediate message, not in
I
delay
fixed it.
message.
I fixed it.
Mike.
It's fine. We're back. Okay, I had some games.
Yay!
We're good. Jesus.
Cold zombies.
Yes.
Yes, cold
So
zombie.
she's a cold zombie, and now it's time to deal with the fallout of that.
And the
And-
White Walkers.
No, it's all fine.
God, I had
Do not stab my engineers with dragon glass.
I had such a good
Replicate it.
idea of how I was going to build up the tension in the previous leads and ramp up to this very point of Aldous has turned to you. Her eyes are white. Her mouth is escaping from her mouth is this mist. You are under attack.
Oh shit!
So we are beginning combat, and I'm going to roll an attack roll against you.
How do you combat?
I'm glad there's only one of us involved in this.
Yes, it's almost like
Mike's not allowed to put me in any combat
because I wasn't expecting. Oh, here's my combat crib sheet, so that's helpful.
Everyone have dice.
An attack is universally difficulty 2. For a melee attack, it's daring plus security. This will be a melee attack. For range, it is control and security. Let's see, where are you? I drew a big arrow on your sheet and everything. So, daring and security, 8, 9. So, that has not succeeded. So.
Oh, is that your roll or?
Yes, my roll has not met the 2 successes required. So it is a sudden and desperate lunge, but you see Aldous' face contorts into sheer anger as she just brings a fist around for you. It goes wide.
And just kind of takes a swing at me, and it goes wide because she's just flailing.
You are supposed to declare ahead of time whether or not your attacks are lethal or non-lethal. However, I will assume, for the sake of being Starfleet officers, you are attacking non-lethally until you tell me otherwise.
Even if you weren't making that assumption, Strange in no way would be attacking lethally at this point because, he's not. As far as he's concerned, it's just one of his instances. Just flip the fuck out and something's gone horribly wrong. And
That is very sweet. You have a few seconds to react. What do you do?
Scream.
Well, yeah, he probably does scream. Actually,
we'll call that a minor action.
We'll call that a minor action. He yelps and leaps back.
Major. You get a minor and a major action in every combat
round.
Oh
god!
The minor is things like movements or readying, aiming, that kind of thing, and the major is an attack. I wonder if there is a thing which you could do in order to be defensive. That would be really smart, wouldn't it?
That would be really smart. Let me just have a look. So, let's see, that's list of combat. That's not. It's not the same as major actions.
It would be a major action.
Yeah, so a combat task would be a major action. Okay. Because guard is an option.
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, no, that seems like exactly what he's going to do, based on the description I've got here. Find a defensible position, focus on surroundings, or otherwise prepare to be attacked.
And what does guard grant you statistically?
In terms of numbers, successes in the guard task increase the difficulty of attacks made against you by 1 until your next turn.
Nice.
It is certainly on the sheets I've got here. It says it's difficulty 0.
That would make sense.
So yeah, I think that's good. That would be the thing I'm going to actually, roll dice for.
Yeah, please do, because even if it's difficulty 0, it might be it's worth rolling.
Yeah. Well, it still says successes increase the difficulty of the attacks made. So as long as you actually succeed at it, and also not roll 2 natural 20s.
Please.
I don't want to. Let's see. What am I going to be rolling this off of, by the way? Is this still going to be daring security?
Because you're in a melee attack, yes. You are in melee range, so it would be daring security.
Oh god, that's gone in my dinner. Let's roll it again. Well, those 2 have succeeded, so that is 2 successes.
Excellent.
Where is that other stuff? That's So yeah, Strange will kind of leap back away from Rosie's flailing fists.
You get a good look at her now, and you see the way that there's so little recognition, so little of a human response in her. There is just this kind of visceral anger that's contorting her features, and constantly that chill breath from her mouth. She will close the distance and go for another strike. Those are not great. However, I am going to spend one of my momentum. Threats, rather.
Which is a wonderful time. Just pay attention to the counter. Wait, to the counter.
It is a make do counter for now. It's not.
It's still numbers.
Oh no, the one's out of line. Just gotta slide it around.
Stop it.
Way.
Chill.
Like I literally couldn't tell. And still can't, even now you've said it.
Yeah, and I'm going to use that to
kill Strange.
Just kill Strange.
Yay! And Emily can start on character 3.
Yay! Why me?
And it still has to be the chief engineer because you're the only one of us who can do technobabble consistently.
Sadly, I've left all my technobabble crib notes upstairs.
Is that a natural one? No, it's a 7.
You could say anything and we'd believe you.
Yeah, but
She's got standards, damn it.
exactly.
This strike hits in so much as it meets the standard 2 DC. However, because you took a guard action, it does not hit. But it's more that Strange is now acting defensively, and so there is a
yeah,
clout.
so it's actively having to fend her off rather than standing out.
So you
range of her.
You feel it. You feel that this is a punch that is meant to just seriously injure. It's all of this young ensign's strength put into that blow. You manage to kind of move with it, and you don't take any stress from it, but it's quite clear that she intends to harm you. And she's not really making any sound. It's just a constant exhale coming from her mouth.
It's not very Starfleet.
Yeah, we're not mouth breathers.
No go.
Rude. What'd Picard say?
Anyway, back to being terrified.
Yes.
What is Stranger's response going to be other than trying to talk to her?
Get help.
Flee.
Yeah, I think get
Kick
help
her in
is...
the warp core.
No.
Just vent her.
Sparta kick.
It was a third. It was like the third option.
Now, please don't take me using minor and major actions as you not having the capacity or chance to try and talk to her. If you wanna address her, I won't cost you an action to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to work out like what are the actions, and then kind of then seamlessly roleplay and do the action all in one kind of thing. But yeah, I think the only action he's going to be taking at this point is going to be calling for security and possibly medical.
That is absolutely fair. Don't worry, I'll factor that in.
So that's in terms of action. But kind of fending off Rosie with one arm whilst going for the communicator with the other.
Do you need to repeat the guard action every turn?
It does not. Yes, I do actually. Success increases difficulty until your next turn. So that'll be the main action that he'll be doing then, I suspect, unless it's going for the communicator and trying to call security and medical, major or minor.
I would say at most it's a minor.
Cool. I will count that as a minor. So major action would be guard. Roll for that. That is a fail on both counts. So it does not add to the difficulty of that.
I'm going to use that last thread of mine just to get another dice in there.
Do that thing.
I would say it would count as the
Rosie.
interact minor action. To use a com badge.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll be what that is.
We're all learning.
So, yeah. Engineering to security. We need somebody down here to main engineering as quickly as possible, please.
That's a
And
fucking,
ideally a medical team as well.
that's some fucking ace Starfleet crisis reporting.
He's panicking right now, okay?
That was where a Starfleet crisis report and a very British crisis report completely intercepted her. We've got a bit of a situation.
We have a bit of a situation down here.
I think you better come down and see this.
And of course, security will never ask.
No.
Right away.
I'm going to. I have not succeeded in my attack. However, I am going to spend a threat to add a complication to the situation. It's going to be a very simple complication in grapple. She lunges. There is a swipe. It doesn't hit, but both hands go planting on your shoulders now. And you are just. She is just trying her best to overpower you and get you to the ground. Your action.
Yep, okay. I guess Stranger's trying to hold her off at arm's length, and whether he succeeds or not, that is an entirely different thing. Let's just roll some numbers for that. Well, one of those is a success. I don't know whether this is a guard action or what. I don't know. Continue to fend her off, is that going to continue to be a guard action?
You would essentially be trying to...
Because that's kind of preparing to be attacked.
Yeah, but essentially with the it's not strictly a complication in the scene sense. I've essentially given my NPC an advantage. And so if you're wanting to fend off the grapple, you would want to remove a complication, which would take momentum, or... it would take momentum to do that.
Yeah.
So you could still attack or try and physically overpower her in that sense.
Yeah, let's have him at least try and kind of shove back so that he's not immediately going toppling to the floor.
Yeah.
However, that was only one success, and I assume at this point that's actually a combat action, which is the difficulty 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did not succeed at that.
No, you get a hand in, you're trying to shove. She's not taking it.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh no, don't worry. So have another momentum because I rolled a natural 20.
Yay!
She goes for another strike and leaves herself completely open. You have from this a momentum generated. You can spend that immediately if you want by creating advantage, removing a complication, creating an opportunity, creating a problem, or obtaining information.
I think I'm going to go for creating an advantage and trying almost kind of reverse control of this grapple.
Yeah.
So instead of her having her hands on my shoulders and trying to shove me over, it's more I've got her kind of more pinned.
I like
but
that.
I'm not trying to throw her to the floor. Just keep her kind of, stopping, trying to attacking.
Yeah, so you would essentially, if you were wanting to remove that complication by spending that momentum, you would remove the grapple effect. But
yeah, so I'd have to go for another one to try and
I like the idea of you're keeping the grapple condition in play, but you're turning it into your advantage. That makes a lot of sense to me. And you do just that. Beep. So you now have control of this grapple. She's tried once again to attack you. What would you like to do?
I would like to try and talk to her to see if I can get her to respond in any way at all.
All right.
That is not trying to punch me.
Mm-hmm. Good Starfleet.
Rosie, Alders, listen to me. Okay.
The head tilts. You imagine where the irises and pupil must be, though they are completely invisible. You see the eye shifting, and it seems to be trying to gain focus, but she absolutely just does not respond. That will be your minor action. You're going to take a major action?
Not really, no.
That's
Got her in a grapple,
Yeah.
not wanting to attack her because poor defense will sense him.
I'm going to go for one last roll
very
and
defenseless at
not
all.
succeed. So she struggles in the grasp. She starts to kind of push forwards, and seems like she's going to try and take just control of this. It's not calculated in any sense. It's kind of desperate grasps, shoving, and then with the thunder of footfalls from down the corridor, Lieutenant Atticus Vance appears in the scene. You see exactly as it has been described.
Well, it's tradition that at this point in time you don't want to start shooting a phaser into a rolling melee. And as the rest of my security team proceed to in no way interact with the scene, as I, a main character, will hurl myself into the situation. How from where Vance is standing, how clear is it that Rosie is a cold zombie?
I'd say
As
we
A
call
white
She's still
walker.
in there!
it's pretty apparent. Like, Strange has his back to you. They seem, this tussle seems to have taken them around this workbench where this kind of gutted replicator is, but he's been shoved back towards the door, and you can see the opaque whiteness to the eyes, the misting breath. Something is wrong.
So it's very obvious that she's the main problem here. All right, then in which case, Vance is going to go and get stuck in. Essentially, he will. I mean, if he might have, Strange might have a hold on her, but still, Vance will go and try to subdue her, and if needs be, separate the engineers, separate the weedy engineer from the White Walker.
That should not be difficult. You could just pick him up by the scruff of his neck like a kitten.
So yeah, gonna get stuck in. It's not yet time for the good old-fashioned two-fisted chop, but that will come later.
That feels like a Than should have that privilege.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, that's a Than stats. Vance is way better at hand-to-hand.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Please.
Oh no!
Vance is way better at hand-to-hand, and I rolled 2 20s.
So much. What a bounty.
Vance has the worst luck in this
Why have I not
game.
printed off another character sheet already? I should have
Vance
just assumed.
charges and hurls himself into the warp car.
Oh no, I've just realised Vance is clearly the Worf of
Yeah.
our crew. He's,
God.
he's really
Yeah,
good at
it's
combat, but will never show it
Never
on
succeed.
screen.
He will never succeed.
that's-
He'll just get beaten up by fucking everything.
Mike, I
didn't
saw you
know
giving
this.
yourself 20 threat there. Cheeky fucking sod.
Wow, I'm probably going to spend some of that immediately.
I finally understand how the trash crew feels when I'm GMing. It makes sense now. Gang, I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. You are not sorry in the slightest, and you would absolutely do it again.
In a heartbeat.
Okay. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Give me a second. Let me just take this threat down. I'm only going to... Q threat! Fuck. I need a better system. There we go. So, Atticus, you come in. You see the situation as it stands. And as you've come into the corridor, you've clocked that you're not the only security officer that's answering this call. And so you can kind of round the corner, you clock the situation, you know how you're going to interact, and then you are lunged at by the security officer that has met you coming the other way, and you see in that same face those ghostly white eyes, that white breath.
Yeah,
because
cool.
you can
cool.
call in reinforcements. So I'm going to take their turn.
No.
Yeah, that's a hit, bud.
Oh,
That's
Fucking
2
A!
successes.
no.
So,
Well, you're on your own, Strange.
hi, Strange. I'm here to die.
Thank
So
God.
that's
And after all the effort I went to clearing off your fucking face
one
plates.
effect. So take 1 stress.
I can't. Can I note that on my thing? Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it does, but I have it.
Stress is like hit points.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know what your max is, but there will be
Pretty
things
high.
Things in your stat plot tell you.
You are going to be knocked down because I got an effect with that too.
Cool. So I'm prone.
Yes. So yeah, now there's 2 combatants on the field. This is exciting.
This rule book gets way too much of one's finger oils.
Yeah, I
on
know.
it.
That's why I wanted the white print one, but you can only get them in America.
This is why the only rulebook I have is the brains of my friends. I cannot get my finger oils on the brains of my friends.
There's more thundering footsteps down the corridor. Dr. Arkady Burov.
Wait, what?
We called for
I
medical.
called for medical as well as security.
I'm bringing you into the scene.
You're in the scene if you like it or not.
I'm the
I'm
GM.
I am entirely
Everybody's in the scene now.
ill-suited to this situation. Like, okay, so security and medical have been called.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Dr. Borov is likely to not charge into this scene and to peer into it. Like, what
Okay.
has happened?
There's the thundering of footsteps, and then a stop, and then here. And you see
Hello?
Arkady being floored, not Arkady, Atticus being floored by another security personnel, and Strange in a hand-to-hand grapple with the engineer whose name is on another piece of paper to me right now.
Rosie
Okay.
Elders.
So this other security officer
Yes.
has downed him. Are they still on him?
Yeah, it's been
Or-
a full-on shoulder barge, and they're looking like they're about to crouch down and start wailing.
Superb. Well, I'm a doctor. I can't imagine I have come armed into this situation, because why the heck would I if I've come straight from sickbay? In which case, time for the good old-fashioned Starfleet medical trank on the go.
Nice. Oh, that's such a strong play. We'll take that. I imagine that's going to be not going to be a ranged trank, is it?
No,
No.
it's gonna be a since the way you've described it is these things seem kind of tunnel visiony, and it has dropped on. Sorry, they have dropped onto Atticus to kind of wail on him or whatever it is they're doing. I'm literally going to enter the scene by stepping out of the shadows and
That's so
doot him in the neck with a.
Go ahead and roll me 2d20.
I will.
Do that thing.
Do you have my stats up?
I know your stats.
Because I trust you. What am I trying to get under?
This will be, because it's going to be essentially a melee attack, so this will be everything that I've been saying up till now.
Daring plus security.
Yeah.
I got an 8 and a 6.
Then you have succeeded. The DC is 2. So
Doctor.
Dr. Burov saves the day.
you have. I'm going to say that will. Oh gosh, tranquilizer. Rather than looking into the stats of what a trank gun does right now, I'm going to say that gives them the condition immobilized and
Yeah. Also, clearly Aldous is the hero zombie in this situation. So
So yeah, you slam the trank
Turn
in
off
the
the
neck. They kind of jerk and then slump away from Vance.
and the doctor will step up and go, "Are you okay, Lieutenant?"
I'm in one piece. Thanks, Doc. Get up.
It's also comical because Dr. Burov will help you to your feet, and Dr. Burov is quite wee, very slim, quite slight, kind of dancer's frame, looking up at you while you're there, proper Starfleet security,
Lieutenant Strange, Anders, not Anders. Aldous has another strike
Aldous.
at you, but it's so good. It's all on different pages of my notebook. Aldous strikes at you, but you fend it off easily. What do you do?
He's probably even now still trying to talk sense into her because he's sweet and naive
Sweet
and
young
a
boy.
bit dim sometimes. Like this is the kind of situation that hits the kind of tunnel vision, does not think through properly. So yeah, he's still got his hands kind of around her shoulders and is trying to. Neverly actually shakes her a bit and goes, "No, Rosie, listen to me. I know you're still there. Just snap out of it."
Give me a presence plus command roll.
One of those might have. Presence, command. Yes, that is one success.
She wavers.
Probably not enough.
No, she wavers.
What, sorry?
You see, for the first time, she blinks. It doesn't clear anything up, but you see that kind of slump to her shoulders, a momentary lapse in this outright aggression, and she blinks. Head tilts a little. Atticus Vance.
Right, well, it's time to earn my paycheck. However, first, the one that the docs zapped.
Mm-hmm.
How incapacitated are we talking about here? Let's not leave my back
Like,
uncovered.
Out of combat, incapacitated.
Cool.
Like the doctor dropped them and then stepped over them. Like, oh, excuse me.
Okay,
Just moving past the body.
then let's
Good on my
try yet again going for Rosie Elders.
Rosie Alders, the world's hardest zombie. Please do.
That's more fucking like it. It's 4 to 14. Yes, that's 2 successes.
Excellent. Please roll me. It's going to be an unarmed strike, so it's going to be 2 of the d6s, please.
I have focus in hand-to-hand combat. What do focuses do again?
You tell me. Ignore me.
I don't know. I don't know what it does.
Where is page 1 of my combat?
Also, I love the classic dichotomy of Rosie, I know you're in there.
Bam!
Come on, just listen to her when she just goes flying sideways across the screen.
The two sides
Oh,
of Starfleet.
also, I forgot I need to check out my feats because I have the mean right hook talent as well.
Hot diggity shit. That will impact this.
Also, I object to your impression of strange.
It's not an accent I can do, alright?
Kath, if you look up the...
My unarmed strike
Okay.
attack has a vicious 1 damage effect.
Nice.
Couldn't have made him Welsh. I can do Welsh.
But I can't.
Sorry, I can't
Well-
remember what focuses do.
It's okay.
Closest I get to Welsh is Scouse.
We're in it together. Focuses... I'm getting the book.
I can't remember where they went.
Spend.
You can tell we're really, really out of practice with this system.
No, we can tell this system
Like,
is
I
clunky
think
and
we've had-
awkward.
I don't think it is. I just think we've
clunky and
barely
awkward, but also,
used
I
it.
think we've never really used the combat rules. We've had one firefight in the previous story, and that's been it. In like.
Also, I just can't remember what focuses are because we've not been rolling dice very much.
Like, maybe it's
Also
just
that.
me. Maybe I just really struggle with this game. Maybe everyone has like one system that they struggle.
That they just can't.
So, while the others are reading,
Oh,
how's everyone doing? I got shot in the eye at a LARP last weekend. You can't tell now, but it was quite dramatic. Carbon fiber
Being shot in
arrows.
the eye is neither big nor clever.
I screamed
No.
like a little girl.
that's
I am not
legit.
surprised, and I do not blame you in the slightest.
All right.
Because,
I can't.
yeah.
Let's ignore focus for now.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I'll read it up when I'm not my thing. It's like a fundamental thing of the game. Why should we know that?
Let's do...
Oh wait, were you just trying to work out what focuses do?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sorry, I completely missed what that was about. So, focuses. When you make your roll, so you know how when you roll a natural 1, that's 2 successes. If you're applying a focus and you roll equal to or under the relevant discipline that you're rolling for, then it counts as 2.
Then that's 3 successes. That's 3 successes for what it's worth.
Well, it's good to know.
But you've exceeded it by 1.
Momentum.
That does indeed get you momentum, which you can spend immediately if you want.
I'll leave it for the moment. I think we might fucking need it. So my strong right hook adds a mean right hook means my unarmed strike has the vicious 1 damage effect. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool.
Okay. Roll 2d6.
2 damage dice, yeah. I have a chevron and a what is nothing because there are no sparkles.
So that is interesting. You do 1 damage plus an effect, and I think your effect is
incapacitate.
No.
Yeah.
It's knockdown. It's the same effect I got.
Cool.
So you've done 1 damage. Your vicious gives you a 2nd damage.
Nice.
They are knocked down.
However much extra damage affects you rolled, which is the chevrons.
Cool.
So, boop, and there was something else that I just thought of. Yes, on the momentum spend, just remember that when this scene ends, you'll lose that momentum anyway. So, if you want to spend that now, you can.
We still have a zombie to wrestle, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you want to
That's fair.
really deck my poor wee ensign.
She has been knocked down. She is struggling. So, Akhliburov, you're muted.
Is he? You muted?
No, I just wasn't using words that you could hear because you're not advanced enough.
I was speaking.
All right, so that's for stripping Burov talking in Russian.
Yes, we couldn't afford the translator. So, Alderson's got these. Is it Aldous? No, that's Alders.
Alders.
That's what the ship name was called.
The dead engineers.
The Ghost of Gwen.
She's piggybacked.
That's what the problem is.
I want to be friends. So she's got really fucked up eyes and is expelling some sort of gas.
Yeah, it's that. It looks like it does when you breathe when you're cold, but do me. No, in fact, no. Don't do me. Carry on.
I don't think of you that way, Mike. Let us just remain good friends.
Very well. I'm in agreement with this.
But clearly she don't look right.
No.
Therefore, I think it's probably persuadant for Dr. Burov to get out the tricorder and like
fucking A.
Like having dropped one, will step out and kind of look at her like, oh gosh. Like Vance swings in to like lamp her one, and Dr. Burrow's like, this is fine.
Has the stereotypical Trek fight music been more apt?
I will need you to roll 2d20, and you are trying to roll under the combination of your daring and medicine stats.
My daring and medicine, I know what that is. I have my character sheet up now.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, my medicine's quite good.
Yes. I did that on purpose.
my God.
Fucking doctor.
The doctor is good at medicine.
I just feel really judged right now, guys. But both got under.
Excellent. Yeah, rather than PMing you, I'll give you this for now. The fluttering that you can see at the eyelids is reminiscent of REM sleep, indicating that there's still brain activity, but it is completely submerged to this what seems to be subconscious act. Recommended recourse would be to try and put them into that deep sleep again.
Hard reset.
Just turn the ensign off and on again. this is the kind of solution that Strange understands.
Similarly, I'll give you on that roll too. The breathing is odd. All this time it has been.
Really?
It is a constant
You
exhale.
don't say.
Shut up.
Peanut Gallery, behave.
I'm going to give you stress. It is a constant exhale, which would cause you naturally cause for alarm. However, it doesn't seem to be causing any of the asphyxiation, visible signs of asphyxiation, indicating that somehow
Something is mucking about with how she respirates.
Yes.
So what the doctor is going to do is in trying to give advice to Vance, who is the one who came in with the doctor will be kind of reeling off a stream of kind of data analysis and readouts regarding her brain scan, her emergency brain scan and respiration, probably leading to the question,
What?
prognosis indicates hard reset, Lieutenant.
Well, you just told me I can't use a chokehold.
If you could subdue the patient for me, then I will transport her back to sickbay.
All right.
Atticus Vance, what do you do?
Plan is going to have to be a grapple, because those are rules everyone always loves in any system. Because
The grapple in this isn't too bad, actually.
no, theoretically, but yeah, he'll go for a grapple, and
Well, definitely
because he
we've also got
can't
momentum to
he can't choke her out. So yeah, I will spend some momentum for this to get this shit to give me an extra dice to get
Sounds
this
good.
shit over and done with.
What accent was that?
That is 3 successes,
Hey!
but
Excellent.
none of them are under my security discipline.
Now, Emily, I
Fancy
noticed
should be a
you
fucking
just said the
beast in
grapple in
combat.
this system is really good.
No, she said it's not that
I
bad.
have the grapple rules in front of me.
Give me them grapple rules.
Or at least a shortened version of them. Requires at least one empty hand, places a grapple complication on the targets. They may take no other action until they break 3 other than attacking you, which increases in difficulty by 1. You gain 1 bonus momentum on melee attacks against the opponent you are grappling. It does not say what the difficulty is, because presumably that depends on the target and how big and spiky and foily and otherwise menacing they are, and other conditions that the GM may or may not wish to apply. So pick your difficulty.
I would say I'm going to keep that at the difficulty 2, so that is met plus 1 success.
Oh, well, yeah, it doesn't make any difference then.
So I wasn't too wrong with my guesstimated grapple from earlier, but I wasn't. The
guesstimated grapple was pretty much exactly how the grapple works.
Yeah. I will say for the purposes of this scene, Rosie Alders is sufficiently detained by that. And you can begin strong-arming her to medbay, I presume, or the brig, or an airlock.
Medbay.
I mean, once she's strong-armed, I'll probably just knock her out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Because safety first.
Yeah, no, that is... that will perfectly conclude this scene in... she's still kind of struggling.
And it means the doctor's had 100% of the knockouts.
The doctor's winning Star Trek.
That is exactly how winning Star Trek works.
Yeah,
It hasn't broken a sweat while everyone else is kind of like, oh, Christ.
So with Arcady's succinct application of a tranquilizer, Rosie Alders goes limp.
What the hell happened here, Lieutenant?
I don't know. I came in and she was like that. She wasn't responding, and then she just started attacking me, and I have no idea what's happened that's made her start acting like that. It's just,
Well, we're 2 for 2 on kind of problems here. Doctor, what the...
Doctor, what?
Dr. Burrell to sickbay.
Sickbay here.
Requesting emergency transfer. 2 subjects to quarantine. Under security, please.
Very well.
I'm taking that as you don't have much of an idea then of what's going on.
currently, 2 members of Starfleet seems to have lost control of their mental and physical faculties and attacked other members of Starfleet. It's very bad.
Right, I'm going to go report this in then, I think.
Lieutenant, please report to sickbay as soon as you're done.
All right, but also if this is carrying on, considering this has happened to one engineer and now one mass security, I'm going to be making sure that all of mass security are checking in everywhere.
Quite right. Lieutenant Strange, if you will accompany me back to sickbay.
Yes, of course. Of course, Doctor.
Okay.
That's quite enough of that.
Scene.
Yeah, the 2 patients are transported to sickbay, and we exit the scene. I've already detracted the one momentum.
Transporters make everything so neat.
Yeah, just you're there.
Nice, easy body disposal.
They're not dead yet. I mean, at all.
No. You'll be fine.
It's kind of up to you guys what scene you want next. Do you want to go straight to sickbay, or do you want to cut back to Athan and Talandra?
I'd like to know what's happening to Athandra, please.
Very well.
Thunder.
It's their ship name.
We cut.
No, their ship name is the Iskandar, for they're married to duty.
I love that.
Yeah. Yes, good.
We cut to Athan's ready room. It is much the same as it was previously. The temperature is cold enough that the breath mists in front of your faces. And the computer, as we enter this scene, the computer is once again saying room temperature is as per normal parameters.
Room temperature does not feel as per normal parameters.
No, Captain.
I'm going to get a tricorder from out of a drawer. I'm sure that Athan has one to hand, and just quickly, making sure it's not networked with the ship's computer or something. Just quickly do an
off network.
Off
For your
network,
private browser.
turning off the Wi-Fi to make sure that it's and do a quick scan to get a separate reading.
This will be insight and
Science?
Maybe
So
not
not-
insight science in that case. I'm looking at my handy chart.
Reason and science?
Let's go.
Michael.
Let's go reason and science for now.
Cool. There could not be a worse array of choices.
In the meantime, Talandra is going to attempt to communicate with engineering.
Sure.
Well, you're not the only engineering.
I know, but just in general, engineering is probably in a bit of disarray at the minute.
Fair.
With the whole zombie attack.
Also, we might be trapped.
We'll
Also,
do
there might be
this.
traps.
Athan first, then Talandra. Athan, what did you get? Okay. You're starting to look at kind of ambient information, but Athan lacking. Starfleet officials, of course, are skilled in all varieties, but
But I can't make my tricorder tell me what the local temperature is.
no, it's
I can't do buttons.
it's sluggish. It's not. It's almost like it's on the fritz.
We've accidentally done the wrong jobs.
Talandra,
I'll
this is
communicate with the
tricorder.
outside world. I'll do the science thing. Hello? Hello, Starfleet.
Captain.
Talandra to
Commander
engineering.
Talandra. Strange, you hear that?
Oh yeah, and Strange is on his way to sick bay at the minute. Yes, Strange here.
Are you well, Lieutenant?
Yeah, I'm fine, Commander. Yes.
Very well. Requesting an emergency. What's the word?
Diagnostic?
Requesting an emergency diagnostic of the captain's ready room.
Yep, Commander. I will get on that. Strange out. I will get back to you with. Yep. Yeah. He just totally leaves it like that.
Like you you don't look at your comm badge, but Talandra looks off to the side in that way of just like she's just been on a phone call with a look of.
He is a little green.
That's probably it, Captain.
The tricorder doesn't appear to be particularly responsive.
May I?
No,
Science
while they're doing
Vulcan.
that, emergency diagnostic.
Okay.
Does Dr. Burrow allow Strange to go and do an emergency diagnostic, or is he going to be getting somebody else to do it? Well, they strong arm him off to sick bay. Go, nope, you're coming with me.
That is up to Burrow.
It is up to Burrow.
I believe there are other people in engineering, Lieutenant, who are not you.
I'll get one of them to do it then.
Burrow has this very gentle way of judging people that's just... I mean, I won't be angry if you decide to choose work over your health, but I'll be disappointed, and your health comes first.
Strange. It's not one Burrow to be disappointed.
Nobody does.
He does not. Nobody likes a disappointed face. So yeah, Strange will delegate an emergency diagnostic to somebody else.
Your
Deal with it in a more
your third
controlled
backup
and
character.
less panicked
Or
manner.
future main, as we call it.
Grob Splatchkins.
Engineer Kingston still exists. Even though
Engineer Kingston does still exist.
My notes do say Engineer Kingston, aka Dead Meat.
For
Yeah, it's like dead meat to the emergency.
for Talandra, if you're trying to get the tricorder to work, that will take a insight science check.
You said reason and science for me. I wouldn't have made it anyway.
It is a different numbers.
No, okay. Reason and science. You talked yourself down.
That's fine. My reason's better than me. And so.
Damn it! It's meant to be a punishment.
Whereas mine's actually vice versa.
Am I trying? It's 2 dice. Did you say?
Yes, 2d20. That is the crux of the system.
Yeah, both are under easily.
Nice.
I'm a Vulcan. My reason sciences has to be good, or I get kicked out.
Of Vulcan.
Yes.
You do a little you do essentially the phone, turn it off, and hold the hold button or the home button to kind of
No
hard
one taught
reset
Athan
it.
how to do that.
It
Turn it off
doesn't
and on.
really start responding until you move towards the viewport of the room, assuming that the ready room has a viewport. I don't know what they look like on a
Yeah, a captain
you
gets
get
a
a
nice
window.
space view
Yeah, and it
to
gets
look at space.
some fish and a space view. Oh no, this is an Intrepid, so I get my little lounge balcony section, and I get space to look out sadly like Janeway.
Brooding.
There is, in the center of this room, essentially a cold spot. It's centered around the table, but the ship's sensors are picking up accurately because they are on the extremities of the room. There is a completely localized cold spot around the captain's table. And indeed, when you move away to get the tricorder working, you move out of that initially cold area.
Can I indicate the size of it?
Yeah, it is about 20 foot squared.
Amanda?
Captain, I have reason to believe that both our physical sensors and the sensors of the room are entirely accurate. The cold of this room is moving from this point here. If you were to stand over there by the wall, I believe you would be experiencing comfortable room temperature.
I move.
It's warm. It's very sudden, like walking out of a curtain.
And you can see where Talandra's still standing. There's
Yeah.
cold.
Any theories on what might cause this?
None as of yet, Captain. Taking scans of it, is it just the air is cold, or?
That will be a further. You'll be analyzing data. So that will be. Science and insight.
Remind me again what intense scrutiny does.
I would love to.
Is that a
I
talent?
was talking to Emily.
It's whenever.
Happily, intense scrutiny is one of the talents that I have for restrained, so I can tell you how it works.
Does it work in this situation?
Did you use reason or control? And
It's not an extended task.
Yeah, I knew there was something about it. Nevertheless, both are still under my insight science. I am good science.
The chemical composition that you are reading in the room is slightly abnormal. It is much more hydrogen-based than you would anticipate. Not so any lethal or toxic levels, but kind of a trace element of unfamiliar gases or foreign gases within the cold spot.
Can I detect a source?
No. It just seems to occupy that space.
Is this collection of gases familiar in composition to any other thing I might know? Like, is this the atmosphere of a specific planet that the Federation has contact with, or is it the comfortable breathing of some,
Give me
other
a reason
thing?
Science roll.
We're just bouncing off my good stats at the moment. 1 success.
Would you like to spend momentum?
Yeah, we've got it.
Do it. Use
Why
it or lose it,
Why the piss not?
says Talandra.
So go ahead and roll an extra dice.
Success. Oof, just.
Excellent. That is what I wanted to hear. You begin kind of flicking through the standard protocol of, like, what is this composition? What would this kind of area be? One thing that does flag up, it is the same chemical composition as trace elements of the gas found in the stasis pod.
So that'll probably take Talandra a little bit of time of, like, probably infuriatingly to the captain, pacing and making a note and pacing and making a note and doing science and doing intrigued faces and eventually saying, fascinating.
Commander?
To a discrete margin of error, Captain, I believe that this isolated cold patch is of the same molecular makeup as the gas found in the stasis pod that we recovered. And it appears not to have moved from this spot or diffused into the air.
Right. Athan is going to do 2 things. And one of them, and although bear in mind at some point we're going to have the awful thing of Vance is going to show up in this scene, because that's where he's heading. But we'll worry about...
The captain can bugger off to do something else and he can report to the officer on duty.
Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure me doing my Gollum impersonation is inevitable.
Captain! Look, I'm avoiding it. Talandra will never need a medical. She'll never get sick. It'll all be fine.
But step 1 of what Athan is doing is Athan is going to basically call, like, officers who she knows will be at different points across the ship, like who's in stellar cartography, who's in yada 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 yada, who's in 10 forward, ideally some with some degree of authority in particular locations, and ask them to report in if they're experiencing any atmospheric any changes to the atmospheric conditions on the ship. And
I will be uploading my scans to officer-wide accessibility.
In fact, she'll probably actually do that via a pad ping mass message, because step 2 is going to be Thanta Ensign Casey.
Just very, very quickly.
We need a fucking chief science officer on this shit.
When our chief science officer is finished dealing with whatever shit he's got.
I still can't believe our chief science officer is a fucking ensign. It's outrageous. You need to take your exams like yesterday.
I mean, Voyager had Harry.
I know, but Voyager was a special
the
case
that we have on this ship.
So, Athan sends out those messages, requests to report in. As you're doing that on a text-based medium, that will take a little bit of while to come in.
But it's the quickest way to spam everyone.
Just before you get to the point of calming Casey.
Who's a commie?
Shut up. Talandra's tricorder, in fact, the tricorder beeps a little, indicating the cold spot has moved, and it moves to the door.
Captain. I believe that the isolated patch of frozen air is moving.
Where?
Towards the door, Captain.
There is the chime of the doorbell, essentially. That little "I would like access" chime. That comes.
No, that's the DS9 one.
And you hear a voice go, "Captain, it's Lieutenant Kingston."
He's been promoted.
Private Kingston.
Ensign.
I don't know. It's Kingston.
Private.
It's me, Kingston.
Or crewman. I think they were just a crewman.
This is Crewman Kingston. I was requested to do a diagnostic of the ready room.
Hold a moment, crewman. Commander, is that safe to even enter if that's the same content?
I believe that we have been stood in it, Captain. Nevertheless,
yes.
Is the diagnostic truly necessary now that we know that there is no fault in the sensors?
That's a very good point. Just to be strange to poor crewman Kingston.
That's my job.
Hold in the vicinity, crewman. Stand down for the moment. Don't yet enter the room.
As you say, Captain.
You might still need an engineer now here.
Basically, Talandra is going to attempt to just maintain as much of a visual as she can of where the thing is. This has now become the thing finding.
I'd like us to be sure on whether or not it's safe for us to pass through that. A thumb to Casey.
There is a long pause. Casey here.
Could you report to the outskirts of my ready room, Ensign, and bring a tricorder? There appears to be some strange side effects from the alien stasis pod we've brought aboard, and the commander and I are getting some very strange readings from our doorway. We're not entirely sure if it's dangerous.
As you say, Captain, did you say that Commander Talandra is with you?
Yes.
Very well. Casey,
Ensign, is there...
Talandra is going to very quickly check her own documents and her brain. Is Casey... What duty roster is Casey on at the moment?
He's on rest.
Is he on rest, or is he just on off duties? Like, is this his rest cycle, or is this his chill, do what you want, bum around the holodeck cycle?
No, I imagine there will be a system if you are on a high stress away mission. Your rest cycle then becomes more important than your off duty.
So the fact that he was able to be communicated means he's just off duty.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the next thing that happens is that Vance shows up.
Yeah, okay, let's do this. It's fucking inevitable.
I maintain. Captain, if you wish for me to deal with the debrief, I'm happy to.
Kath isn't sure because she feels like this is going to have to be a bullet will bite at some point in time.
No, we can. That's why we have the setup that we have.
I could do captain impressions in the back if that's helpful.
By all means, Commander, I'll deal with the reports from the different stations aboard the ship.
Talandra is going to gift the pad to Fan.
Should we have other pads?
so that a fan can see the fucking array of gas.
Yeah, because I have a science background. I do not have a science background.
You can see,
Talandra is going behind you.
Talandra has a good not only does she have a good science background, but she has a good degree of managing underlings. So
I'm a political science genius, damn it.
So we'll set up the pad for
child interface.
No, just for a beginner at science, knowing that a fan must have basic Starfleet science knowledge to be a captain. So we'll kind of idiot-proof it a bit and make it so I won't get a call in a few minutes going, I've accidentally deleted the first column and now it says no error.
Despite my jokes, Assad has 2 insides. It's engineering and medicine she's got 1s in.
Yeah, so basically, but Talandra will do all of the setup stuff and then just give her the pad. And then we'll take the side door out so she doesn't have to go through the fucking gas.
Interesting to note, you move to the side door. Not only does the pad beep, indicating a movement from the gas, the
tricorder at this point, I'm assuming.
The tricorder beep. The lights dim in the room. There is the low power down hum of a system going faulty. You have emergency lights. You have the lights from the pad. You can see. In fact, no, the doors will be airtight, so you can't see. But as you move to that door, all of this happens almost in an instant.
Ooh. Do I basically put my hand out to the door and it's cold?
Yeah. And in fact, it's starting to freeze over.
Talandra turns.
I give Talandra back the tricorder. I'm going to get up and move closer to the other door, the one which I knew Kingston was at. Athan to Kingston.
Kingston here.
It appears we've lost all power into my ready room. Can you run a diagnostic on anything from outside?
Yes, Captain. You can dimly hear the shuffling about from outside. Captain, there are power abnormalities coming from the ready room, similar to that which we experienced on the Resovski.
Talandra, okay.
I was going to say, you're going to have to be a little bit more precise than that, crewman.
I wish I could be more precise than that. It is ebbing and flowing in a way that current shouldn't. Captain, I've just tried your door and I can't open it.
I'm assuming you can't. But an emergency open?
Perhaps that would not be wise, negative. Captain.
Why not? No, sorry, Commander, why not?
Whatever this is seems determined to keep us in here. Perhaps it would be better not to release it to the general populace.
That's true. Can you see if it's possible for internal transport, crewman? Or whether or not we're going to be suffering some of the same interference here as on the Resovski?
There's a momentary pause, and then an internal...
While he's off doing that,
Talandra
is aware of what she was supposed to be doing and will step back and say, Lieutenant Vance, I'm unable to leave the ready room. Verbal debrief.
Yeah, well, I responded to an emergency call from engineering and found Lieutenant Strange trapped in a fight with one of his own engineers. She, and as it turned out, one of my own security, have been affected by something. They were completely out of it, eyes glazed over blue, making strange noises. Dr. Burov managed to sedate them both, but they'd completely lost their senses and gone violent. They're both in sickbay with the doctor right now, so we should find out some more. But considering, I thought you should be informed.
As the captain was in conversation with Kingston at the time, Talandra will relay some of that and say, Captain, if there is an incident, perhaps it is best to put the ship on alert.
I would agree, and considering that we're trapped in here. Advanced Lieutenant Kantos.
Oh, fuck.
Kantos features
In the house!
We have to do something! Yay! Yeah, Captain Kantos here.
Lieutenant, we seem to have a problem right now with myself and the first officer are trapped in my ready room, and it appears that we're having incidents with certain crew members potentially turning violent. This is matching some indications of reports we've recovered from the Resovski. I'm going to put the ship to a yellow alert, but also if myself and the commander remain physically trapped, you're going to have to assume immediate command of situations. It seems that we're on the other end of the comm line, but for the moment, otherwise, it seems the bridge is at least yours, Lieutenant.
Right, well, Captain, do you want me to try and get anybody to try and get you out of the ready room?
Ensign Casey is en route, and I think should be direct, because if nothing else from here, we can find out more of what's actually going on, as well as to try to get us out. It may be possible to transport us out, but if not, liaise with Lieutenant Vance on keeping the ship secure and work with Ensign Casey and Lieutenant Strange on figuring out exactly what the hell is going on.
Right.
Dr. Burov should have reports for you soon about the condition of 2 afflicted crew members in sickbay.
Okay.
Good luck, Lieutenant.
I'll keep you abreast as best as I can, Captain.
Talandra will, well, again, while this is happening, this scene is probably the two of them like crossing over each other, communicating rapidly to like doing the thing that leaders do, and they're like, quick.
It would be like a really cool West Wing scene, but we're not in the right format.
And also because I've got to talk to you now.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Vance, the ship is shortly to be put on Amber Alert. You are instructed to maintain vigilance in the face of potential threats from within the crew.
Don't worry, ma'am. I'm planning on having mass security teams going around in teams of at least 2, so that if anything happens to one of them, they can report in and sweep the ship to see if anyone else has been afflicted.
The captain and I are currently unable to leave her ready room.
That's...
We believe we are affected by similar power outages that affected the Resovski.
Well, I'm hoping it's just going to be power outages in that case. But for what it's worth, it did seem as if Dr. Burov's sedatives were successful against crew members.
Unfortunately, Lieutenant, we are lacking the correct medical phases within the captain's ready room.
Of course, ma'am.
However, it seems that while we have comlinks, you should keep in touch.
Of course, ma'am. And I'll liaise with Lieutenant Kantos as well.
Thank you. Talandra out. And Athan and Talandra stop at the exact same moment and look at each other. And they both, like, Talandra's look is definitely much more subdued, but they both have the look of, well, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably at about the same time. Vance is outside, isn't he?
Yeah, Vance is outside, and Vance is going to look at Kantos.
So there's probably a very similar look that passes between Kantos
just more animated with our human faces.
Does the ship then go on alerts?
Yeah, goes on the yellow alert.
It does.
So as...
Oh my god, it times perfectly. So Vance walks out of the corridor from the ready room just as Kantos is like, Amber Alert, and they look at each other like, oh dear.
The sirens blare, the lights flash, and we will take a break.
Yeah.
We will be back in 5 minutes or so with more Star Trek Iskandar. See you soon. And we're back. So when we left the crew of the USS Iskandar, there was a slightly precarious situation emerging. The ship had gone onto yellow alert due to unforeseen circumstances, mostly revolving around crewmen attacking crewmen and a strange, nearly supernatural occurrence within the ready room.
It's haunted.
I think we'll cut to the med bay.
And just for what it's worth, Vance has been instructed to report in there eventually after the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Izzy, you are muted.
I'm not.
Oh,
but
okay.
I was when I first tried to talk, and then I unmuted, and I thought it'd be rude to just interrupt Kat with my thoughts.
Let me stop you there. I was muted.
Like, that's in the past. Why are you living in the past, Mike?
Move on, Mike. Come on. Anyway.
So, the ship has just gone on to yellow alert.
Dr. Burrow would probably be like, "Oh."
About 5 minutes beforehand, you would have had a message asking you to confirm location and current duties.
Sick bay. Doing sick bay things.
Excellent. So whilst no information
No,
has been...
sick bay. Medicine.
There will be 2 people out of the 3 who were present in the engineering debacle who have not informed the captain.
Fox is going to.
So yeah, and
Strange is not in any.
Then again, if it coincided with carrying Strange back to sickbay, they probably wouldn't have said anything because they're doing medicine.
Mm-hmm. I would say that this has been, in the interim period, you've managed to attend to Strange's boo-boos, of which there
Basically
are...
just get him to calm the fuck down.
I probably will have administered a very mild sedative.
And similarly, I'll let
just
you...
slap him. Like, that would work.
No.
For absolutely free, you are able to put Rosie Alders and unnamed security red shirt onto a comfortable bed. I don't have my list of names right now.
With a security field. Security field.
Oh, it could be crewman erotica.
Crewman erotica.
Get him out of my sickbay.
Carnel.
Yeah. Oh, that would make great sense. It's Carnal.
Erotic.
Because of my accent.
I
keep
thinking Carnal, and then I can't remember their name. I just remember it sounds like sex.
So, Alders and Carnell are laid comfortably enough. They are kind of put under, but they're fine. They are reading as perfectly healthy.
How's their brain activity?
It's that kind of deep sleep, REM type situation.
Then probably what's going to happen is the doctor is just going to try and keep them asleep because something is affecting their wakeful brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's better.
And yeah, the Amber Alert signs off.
Oh, that isn't good.
The door to the med bay opens, and kind of dashing in, a little bit out of breath, comes Ensign Casey. He notably has a severe, the beginnings of a bruise on his eye. He slams the door shut mechanism and kind of presses his back against it, panting for breath, and then kind of blearily looks up to get his surroundings.
Like, I think in that exact moment, the doctor, who is kind of, as soon as Amber Alert goes on, enters the stage of not phased by, well, I'm going to be seeing a lot of people who are running around and injured, and so we'll move over to him very gently.
Doctor
Casey.
I'm dreadfully sorry. I was on my way to the captain's ready room as she requested. I have just been attacked.
Come sit down. Tell me all about it.
I was just going about the corridors. I admit I wasn't looking where I was going. I was trying to send the latest of the unscrambled information to the captain. I did send it, thankfully, but I ran into a security officer, and they must have taken quite umbrage to my situation.
Do you know which security officer it was?
Yes, it was Ryder.
We'll be administering an analgesic to the bruised area. Sickbay to Lieutenant Vance.
Vance here.
Might interest you to know that Lieutenant Ryder has just brutally attacked your chief of science. On deck, we'll tell.
Understood. The ensign's condition?
Bruised, but alive. It seems that we are becoming quite an epidemic of out-of-control security officers.
What's happening?
Understood. I will be doing a sweep and a checkup of mass security personnel with those who are clear personally. And probably when all of this is over, I clearly need to make sure that Ryder hits the cardio better if Ensign Casey outran him.
He might be small, but he is quick, no?
It's a useful trade in a science officer.
Do not take it as an insult, but I'm going to be putting sickbay on security lockdown, as to avoid potential barragement.
Understood. Although, considering it doesn't look as if these people can talk, you can probably just make them identify themselves through the doorway first.
Quite well. Should you need me, you can ring my doorbell.
I shall do that, Doctor. Good luck.
Forgive me, Doctor, what does that mean, considering these people can't talk?
There is a lot to explain. I'm going to hand over to Lieutenant Strange. You can tell you slightly better than I can. I am going to prepare something for that Bruce. And also we'll be locking sickbay, as I said.
Casey, was there anything up with Ryder's eyes that you spotted before he,
In all honesty, I didn't really get a good look at the man.
Or did you notice that he seemed anything odd about the way he was breathing, such as kind of misting in front of him?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't notice anything like that. I was a little bit distracted by picking up my pad and then finding a fist in my face.
Understandable. Something to do with that stasis pod we got aboard has started affecting people.
He looks over at the stasis pod.
I mean, it might simply be that Lieutenant Ryder took umbrage with the ensign. We can't go making assumptions.
That's
true,
but one seems more likely than the other at this point.
Well, quite so, but it wouldn't be the first time that some members of security have decided to pick on those of the science division.
True. Bristol's ever so slightly at that, but he moves on. So,
Doctor will bustle back over and...
That's already feeling much better, thank you, Doctor.
You're all right. You don't need to be afraid. Lieutenant Vance is on the case. Also, because sickbay is on lockdown now.
Casey looks about to speak, and there's a moment where he glances over at Strange. His face hardens, and then he just falls silent and looks at the floor.
I'm going to say Dr. Burrow is going to be tactically not aware of that because they are attempting to... Well, they're probably checking their scans of the stasis pod after what Strange said.
Let's get a roll for the extended work on the stasis pod.
Extended work on the stasis pod. Do I have a thing for work? Or is that Talandra?
This would be great for Talandra for intense scrutiny. However,
my characters are in the wrong places.
As a supporting character, you do not get such a trait.
That is offensive to supporting characters. We have rights.
You could,
and sometimes it's very useful for your supporting characters to have these kind of things written into their sheets, even if they don't actually use them.
It's very true.
For
reasons. You could enlist one of the young scientists to help you out, and that will give you an extra dice.
Like, they've got a staff, so like...
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be someone who can help.
In that case, give me a roll. This will be insight and science. Insight and science.
Insight. Science. I can do that. I got 1 success.
Good.
So
Let me find the actual page where I'm recording that.
good tunes there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll give you an extra work.
Yes. Who doesn't love that?
What are you looking for information-wise on the pod and the alien right now?
Well, all that we know is that there's something to do with the stasis gas.
Mm-hmm.
So if nothing has super changed in the creature, like, because the creature's under just general scan, if nothing's kind of gone, it's producing gamma radiation, then I guess the examination is going to be mostly focused on the stasis gas for, like, that's the cause of the thing. So, science.
Then I will give you absolutely perfectly, because we are very close to the end of the researching the alien task work itself. I will give you an absolutely vital piece of information, but it's so good and juicy. I'm going to PM you it.
I'm so excited.
No.
I'm gonna keep my face neutral.
I'm nervous about this.
I'm gonna keep my face neutral until I read it, and then I'm going to do Dr. Borov's face
Dr.
as they realise from their pad. It's me pretending to type.
Doing a medicine.
Medicine.
Medicine?
Doctor.
You should have a private message now.
Dr. Borov frowns slightly and is going to start redoing a few calculations, and probably Strange can immediately tell that's the look of someone who's gone and that will give me the answer.
Okay.
And that will give you the wait. That's not an answer.
With this new information at hand and looking more at the schematics that you've been able to get of how the pod is being constructed, it actually makes sense. All of its systems would be able to do that, and now you're coming to think of it, there's no reason why that would be a byproduct.
Huh. That isn't good.
Something wrong, Doc?
Well, you know how potentially the captain and the first officer are trapped in a room with a block of this stasis gas, which is concerning because it means that somebody would be trying to put their room into some sort of stasis. Well, the gas that is keeping the creature in stasis is in fact potentially not that. It is not a byproduct of the pod that the creature is kept in. It is a byproduct of the creature itself.
So, what are you saying in terms of
that rather than being a manufactured product that has been created by, say, Starfleet or another alien race, this is a natural or organic byproduct of the creature's respiratory system.
So it keeps itself in stasis?
As for the purpose, I have not yet deciphered. But it means that the nature and purpose of this gas can now not be what it was previously thought to be, and means that potentially whatever has affected the captain's ready room and other crew members of this ship could either be an accident of biology or could be part of some malevolent intelligent design.
There's something I should add.
Jensen.
When I woke up, just before I started work again, because I needed something to distract me, there was something in my room.
What do you mean, something?
You must be ever so slightly less vague.
When I woke
Just
up,
as good.
When I woke up, I saw Gwen.
Ensign.
What?
It sounds ridiculous, but I saw her almost like a ghost stood in the corner of my room. And I wasn't asleep. I turned on the light and everything.
Ensign, when are you next due for a meeting with the Chancellor?
Relatively soon, but I know what I saw.
You also know that perceptions can be tricky and that you cannot trust what your eyes are seeing.
That is...
Not always. Did you take scans, perhaps, of this apparition?
No. No, I failed in that.
It's not a question of failure. You are in a very stressful situation, potentially a very anxious situation. What I need you to do is sit and breathe. They shall prepare a sedative.
He sits and he starts to breathe slowly.
As the doctor moves off to go and drugs, they will say very softly, "You know," to Strange, "you know very well that this has hit him hard. This high-pressure situation might not be doing him any good at all. I know it is tempting to think things in line with what you wish to think. But we must take the most likely thing to be correct. Something has distressed him. When we are distressed, the men can play tricks."
I understand. Right.
Does anybody want to do anything else in this scene?
Doctor's just handing out sedatives.
Trank him.
Well, that's sorted. Doctor, is your plan just to trank everyone in sickbay? Yes. And then myself.
Well, wait for all of these to blow up. Go to sick bay, have tranquilizer, and wait for all of these to blow up.
We are going to cut briefly. Well, I say briefly, as long as you want. It's up to you. It's your game.
Forever.
Forever. We're going to cut eternally back to the captain's ready room.
Drop the accent then. It's the hard part about playing two characters in one game.
Oh, God, yeah.
Actually sent the PDF to the wrong person.
Oh, was it me?
I think you have one coming too. It's taken a while to upload, strangely. But that doesn't matter. So first things first, the the email you sent out, Athan, requesting readiness and current duties.
Also, like, cold shit.
Yes.
That was the primary thing.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't really care how their day's going unless it's really important.
I'm going to send you the PDF now. Don't open it yet.
Okay.
You get a couple of reports, all like close to the ready room, or at least within like the decks below or above of that cold. You get a couple of complete failures to respond of crewmen that should be on duty.
I will forward those to Vance.
That is considered done. And
Cantos, in fact. Vance and Cantos. Yeah, Cantos is in charge. Vance will have to deal with it.
and you also get a you'll get it'll be written. I imagine, in fact, you'd get from like almost like a live feed of Ensign Casey has reported to medical, and soon after that you get a document sent to you from Casey reading, "This is all I've been able to unscramble of the Resovski's data," and you can both now access that document.
Lieutenant Strickland, personal log, stardate 32391.4. Blank, disembarking to the surface, blank. Orbital surveys, blank. Scattered about the surface, that's due to blank. One concern is that blank, great deal of surface, blank, awaiting is small, blank. Lieutenants Maynard, Chalin, and myself. Lieutenant Strickland, personal log. Against the odds we have found blank, not as we would hope, blank. Hostile conditions we lacked, blank. Accidental contact, blank. Creature, blank. Beamed aboard and put, blank. Treatment in the care of Dr. Ibanez. Next log. Blank, disturbed from my sleep, blank. Fault with my blank. Sensors and ambient controls, blank. Next log. Dr. Ibanez's patient is recovering, blank. Informs me that the creature's blank, adapting to the ship's standard, blank. Procedure was much easier than anticipated, blank. Returned it to stasis. Blank, she and Chief Buhari designed together seems functional, blank. Dip in the temperature in the med bay, blank. Lieutenant Strickland, personal log, blah, blah, blah. Blank, incident on the bridge, blank. Temporarily lose his senses, entered the bridge without permission and attacked. Blank has been confined to the brig and Captain Tuma has ordered blank. Next log, blank, no recollection of the incident. Chief Buhari has blank, feeling cold, blank. Next log, blank, Romulan vessels within the area. Blank, usually of rational mind, claims blank. Phantoms moving through the ship walls. Blank, cold spots about the ship. Blank, apparent movement. Blank, might need to wait. Next log, blank is in critical condition, having been attacked by blank, attack, blank, engine, blank, commotion, the Romulan vessels have blank of our sensors. Next log, blank deemed unfit for duty, blank, avoid detection by the Romulans, blank, leave the orbit, blank. Final log, blank, getting cold. Not sure if it's good news or bad news that this mostly matches what we've been able to infer from previous copy. I will get it sent to the rest of the senior staff. Right now it's this reference to Romulan vessels that's starting to concern me.
The ship first went missing near Romulan space. How it got this far on its own.
But there are references also to people's perceptions and losing their minds. Is it possible that this was also something inaccurate?
Potentially that the presence of Romulan vessels is some figment.
I mean, I'll get Lieutenant Countess to see about and maybe someone to check over the scans already done to see if there's any indication of disruptor fire across the hull. Then again, the ship's been missing for 20 years?
Correct.
Neutral zone was strongly enforced in that time.
If we're dealing with a crew that have taken leave of their senses, perhaps they flew far too close.
That's true.
We know where the ship was reported missing. That isn't necessarily.
But that would have been then. That would have required a Federation ship to have been breaching the neutral zone in the 50s. Surely there would have been the odds of the Romulans dealing with and driving off the ship and there being no diplomatic reprisal. Oh, who can ever understand Romulans?
If the Romulan ship is not in a similar state.
That's true. There may just be two missing ships, one on either side. It's unlikely then, I think, that we're going to necessarily have, unless Romulans are somehow linked to this entity in sickbay. But then, why would they be coming here and now?
It seems to hinge on the presence of this alien force.
It's true.
this creature in the stasis pod that has survived despite all odds to the contrary.
And this stasis pod was made for it. I mean, we believed as much that this log infers that it was made, that it was found on this planet by the Resovski, and Resovski, and then they made it its own stasis pod. I mean, maybe because of the side effects, but the stasis pod hasn't been. It seems as necessarily that it being asleep isn't necessarily much better than it being awake.
Hmm.
I suppose the doctor should try with all haste to awaken it, and then it will be down to Lieutenant Kantos to deal with any first contact protocols.
But it seems that this temporary loss of senses and attacking crew members is consistent with the log of the Resovski. And
yes,
the only other thing that is also consistent with the Resovski is the presence of this creature.
And the cold, and then also it stops. The fact that the last log refers to getting cold and not we're under attack by Romulans, or if you're in a high stakes situation where you're being attacked by Romulans and they are still an ongoing, clear and present danger, I don't anticipate a rational Starfleet officer deciding to make an entry which is just saying that the ship is getting cold. If the ship is getting cold in a crisis, that implies as if the Romulans have been driven off, or do you follow? Does that make sense?
I follow, Captain. But it is implying that Lieutenant Strickland was of their right mind.
The rationality is not necessary.
Also, there is a point that is blanked on the final personal log.
Something getting cold.
Which may well be simply, it's getting cold. But it may indicate something else.
It's possible that the answer is I'm getting cold, and Lieutenant Strickland they completely lost their senses like everybody else. But it's getting cold would seem more likely. On the other hand, the dips in the temperature were already referred to earlier.
Nevertheless, there is a potential connection between this creature and a loss of senses of the crew, which may make first contact difficult.
It's true, although they clearly managed to interact. Well, then again, it might not have been conscious, but they interacted with it to an extent before it went into stasis. They built it the stasis pod.
Perhaps they built the stasis pod not realizing what this creature could do. Perhaps this stasis pod has been able to amplify this creature's potential control over crew.
Also, I'm not sure there's any particular indication of communication with the creature that I can see. They refer to them recovering, that they're adapting, something about a procedure, and returned it to stasis.
It is also worth noting that although the crew in question are being clearly controlled by something either of the creature or related to the creature, they make no effort to make contact with the creature.
No.
In Strickland's report, a crewman enters sickbay enters the bridge to attack somebody there. The attacks we've had so far have been in engineering or on the way to sickbay, but at no point has anyone attempted to enter sickbay or engage with the creature. If it had some level of control, why then would it not seek to exit its stasis?
Well, it's very unlikely also that what it wanted was to be stranded on the Resovski for 20 years in stasis. So this sounds like it is not a plan of the creature. On the other hand, this creature is not really matching any entity or species I'm particularly familiar with, so it's possible that that is unhelpful conjecture. But I think this is the sort of thing which is going to need to be actioned by Dr. Burov and Lieutenant Kantos.
Quite. There is nothing we can do from in here that cannot be done with acuity out there.
And no conclusions I'm reaching other than frustrating myself staring at this.
Mike.
Yes.
Is the power still off, or is it just the lights that are off?
It is fluctuating in a strange manner. Every now and again they'll brighten up, but most of the time they're dimmed. You have periods where you can see a little bit better.
Is it still cold? Or is it just the cold patches by the door?
The cold is almost on the outskirts of the room now.
So, sat at the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Notably in this time, you have not heard back from Linkovich. You have had no inclination of whether or not it's possible to be transported out.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, not as in he's been uncertain, there has been no report from Linkovich.
Tilandra will put the pad down and link her hands together and just sit very patiently. She knows that these things take time.
Athan will pace a little.
She can't see Tilandra's face, so she can't see Tilandra's expression, but the audience can see just the very gentlest Vulcan expression of amusement. Would you care to sit down, Captain?
I'm not entirely sure that will help.
Very well. I could see if I could get the replicator working if you'd like a drink.
It's you continue your meditation or relaxation, Commander. Don't worry about that. A hot drink is not going to deal with this situation.
It is quite curious to me, Captain, the things that humans believe will and will not deal with situations.
Right now, I am trying to appease my own sense of helplessness, Commander. Having you do an errand for me would not appease that sense of helplessness.
Quite so, Captain. I am most grateful that you are not the sort of human to appease your sense of helplessness by banging futilely at the door, screaming for help.
Well, maybe a human would, but an extra 50 years on my life suggests that would be impractical.
You would be surprised, Captain. Obviously, she meant to say person, not human.
Yeah.
You're not she knows
Not
that.
a human. I'm not human.
I meant non-Vulcan.
We're all the
non-Vulcans
same
look the same, do they?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Kantos is very young for a second officer. This is what we get for...
Again, the quirk of the smile. She's on her, what, second life?
Athan is, yeah.
Yeah.
Athan is the second... Nadari is the second host of the Athan symbiote.
I'm certain every officer had to have been that age once in their life.
No doubt. It is just possibly an oversight of my part in terms of staffing after losing Commander Anderson. We thus have something of a rift in experience between you and who comes next in the chain of command.
I have been doing my best to ensure that the command structure maintains its integrity, Captain. I have faith in Lieutenant Kantos. I would not have recommended Lieutenant Kantos for the role if I did not.
No, I'm confident as well. However, I had rather hoped that considering there's only been a month since the shake-up of our chain of command, that this sort of situation would not have arisen before the lieutenant has a little bit more experience under their belt. a few more shifts, a little bit more of an opportunity to work directly with us during a crisis instead of running the crisis while we're trapped in my ready room.
Perhaps this is simply another expression of helplessness, Captain. You can no more control what happened to the command structure of this ship as you can control what has happened to the actual structure of this ready room.
Then I suppose we're here for the patient waiting. Athan will sit back down.
Talantra will once again turn and look at her with a sort of neutral expression.
Is that scene?
I think that's scene.
On Athan's pad, there are numerous reports now of assaults just around.
These are all totally going to be getting forwarded to Kantos because
they're probably coming via Kantos.
Yeah. And I imagine from Kantos's perspective, because the order was for Kantos is to go to medbay, if that makes.
No, Kantos is meant to be running things from the bridge.
Yeah,
Kantos is going to
at the
medbay.
minute they're just running things from the bridge.
Vance was told
possibility of Kantos going to medbay and making first contact was just in the conversation. It's not been passed on to Kantos as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
that's the thing that they should go do yet.
And Vance was asked to go because he was in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
on Vance's tour through the Iskandar in its current situation, there will be at least one occasion where the corridor gets cold, and using that as a kind of a precursor to being a bit more wary, kind of peeking around the corridor. Thankfully, just a branch, not a corridor that you need to go down. There are a couple of science officers, but they're just kind of stood, head tilted down, not really doing much, shoulders slumped.
At this point, we've broken up the phases, so Vance is going to approach phaser up. Officers report.
One of them doesn't even respond. The other one lifts their head and eyes are completely white and doing that constant exhale.
You got one more chance there for you to stand down and report with us to sickbay, or I'm going to be opening fire.
They start to approach.
Opening fire. I'm just stunning people.
Rather than getting into full rounds of this, you can easily subdue these two science officers. There is a hollow cat nearby.
I have assistance.
They are stunned, they are dropped, and it becomes apparent of it's going to be difficult to walk them to medbay. You're going to have, it will be like cumbersome to carry them both. However, when you come in to try and get it transported, no response.
All right. Well, we can't necessarily just leave them out here. Is there anything nearby? Is there any kind of rooms or something we could just lie them down in nice and safely and lock them in a closet?
I mean, you're security chief, so you could, in theory, just put them in any nearby room and then just put a security field over it. Like, that's for later.
That's the plan.
Problem for future, Vance.
You are able to open, like, security override a door. It's a habitat. There is a young junior officer inside, looking a little bit shaken.
Afternoon, Ensign. Right now I'm commandeering your quarters for restraining a couple of officers who have lost their senses. So I recommend that you make sure you're in uniform, got everything you need, and report to your duty shift to see what you can do to help the crisis under the current circumstances.
Of course, Lieutenant. Thank you.
All right. Well, right now I'm going to be putting a security force field around your room, so...
He very sharpishly kind of grabs the last bits and pieces that they need to go on duty and then bustles out of the door beside you.
Boop.
And it's like this. It's just eerily quiet, and occasionally you get these moments where the lighting just dims in an area, or you get these cold patches.
Vance is going to have a pretty regular checkup with his various security teams of being like, you fuckers are going to be keeping in touch with me like every 15 minutes. And if not, I'm going to assume you've turned into crazy ice zombies.
It happens.
Even if it's a pad pinging kind of thing.
Yeah, by the time you've got to sickbay, there's only been one reported incident there's only been one bunch of security teams, because they're doing in the 2s and 3s, like you said. Yeah,
they're not on their own.
Only one team goes AWOL, but there are numerous reports of altercations. You're getting this sense that kind of in the corridors you're not in, there is almost a constant something happening. It's either a cold spot or it's an actual fight with one of these things. It's difficult to get an estimate on how much of the crew has been compromised, but you would say probably close to, if not past, the 50% mark at this stage.
Fuck my life.
Oh, that's much worse than I thought.
That's just going to be like beep, 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 outside sickbay then.
Quick question. We're in sickbay.
Yes.
If 50% of the crew has become compromised, has anyone tried to attack sickbay, or has anyone come to sickbay in fear for their lives?
You have, I would say in this time you've got...
Just kick that guy out of his room.
Into the death corridor!
Zombie-filled ship!
You probably kept him as part of your security detail.
Yeah, he's probably now been press ganged.
Yeah, you have...
I didn't know it was that bad at the time.
No, this is the thing. It's these smatterings of reports that you need to actually collate.
Zephram's worried.
But
shit.
When you've analysed the finer scope of it, it's a significant number. A lot of people are barricading.
Under siege.
Yeah. The corridors are basically unsafe at this point. And yes, indeed. But when we cut back to sickbay and we see Vance being kind of bundled in with this poor junior officer that he's with, there is about, say, uncomfortably 30 extra people within the sickbay. They've been Zephram. They've been mostly relegated to kind of the surgery area. You need somewhere to sit down, you need somewhere to calm down. Wounds are being tended to. A lot of the officers are in better straits and now tending to the wounds of... I mean, no one's badly hurt. You've got a couple of broken arms.
A lot of people are being deputized with basic bruise and cut kits.
What's a plastered on me?
First aiding each other.
Yeah.
Probably what Borov has done, particularly with that section of people, is to have given a lot of that to Casey to give him something to do.
He not delights. The moment that is off. Yay!
Slightly injured people!
My favourite! The moment that is offered, he will dutifully go about that.
Yeah. If anything more serious comes, you must tell me.
I will.
Lieutenant Vance!
Yeah, Doctor, we got a real big... The situation's not looking good in here, but it's getting real bad out there.
We have been in a little bit of a black spot. Nobody tells us anything. Come sit down. Let me check you.
All right. I think we're possibly looking at maybe as... Fucking hell. I think we're maybe looking as many as half the crew currently incapacitated in some way. This... I hope you've got answers from that thing, Doc.
Currently, my scans are still in operation. I cannot make them scan any faster. Oh, although I do know that gas is... It's not stasis gas.
It's not stasis gas?
It's not from the pod, it's from the creature.
It's like how they're breathing. Our people are breathing out.
Yes, I believe it to be an after effect of some byproduct of the creature's respiratory system, yes.
Well, shit.
You look very stressed.
Well, yeah, I've been rounding course, and any time anyone in uniform is possibly going to be trying to run to me for help or try and kill me.
Have you been trapped in these cold spots at all?
I've been on the move. Doc, so no, I've not been spending much time in nothing.
You don't believe you've breathed in any of this gas?
We've been using phasers, so we've been taking them down from a distance.
Good. I'm just going to give you a full scan. No offense,
Right.
you're one of the people who I cannot afford to lose right now.
That's understandable. Do we have a plan?
I have not heard anything from the bridge. I was hoping that you would be coming to me with the plan.
No, I'm just coming here because you told me to report back down here.
Well, when I first asked you to report down here, you had been in a minor scuffle in engineering. Half the crew had not fallen prey to some alien gas.
I agree, which is why I kind of took the long way around, making sure most everywhere else was secure on my way down. Should we be going to or bringing Lieutenant Kantos here?
I believe Lieutenant Kantos, if we are in a situation where the ship has fallen hostage, then we have one of two situations. Either the bridge has fallen, in which case that is incredibly bad, or the bridge will have been barricaded, in which case we should not try and breathe it with potential pathogens.
Advance to Kantos.
Damn it, I was about to go strange on this. Advance, what you got?
It's real bad, sir. We're looking at about half the crew who may be incapacitated at this point.
Oh.
I haven't exactly do a head count, but eyeballing it.
No,
that's about it. I'm down in sickbay with Dr. Burov, who will probably be able to give you a better idea of the actual, thing that's the problem here. But for the most part, we're going to need to come up with some sort of answer soon, or all of us are going to end up succumbing to this, and or those of us who ain't going to be able to do anything about the ones who are coming at us. Doc?
Right. Kansas Burov, have you had a chance to analyse this gas that's going about and causing this? Finding anything that you can do to come up with some kind of antidote, way of neutralising it? Any way of getting it off this bloody ship?
Lots of chances, Lieutenant, but unfortunately not a lot of answers. I have been running analysis on the stasis pod and on the creature within, but it is impenetrable to immediate scans. Otherwise, I would have had this information to begin with. Currently, I'm waiting for the next wave of scans to give me more information, but in the meantime, your guess is as good as mine. There is clearly some alien pathogen on this ship that is having a terrible impact on the minds of our crew.
Yeah, well, rope in anybody you need to, rope in any resources you need to get this analysed, because we need to find out what the hell is going on here.
From a security perspective, I have a little bit of concern of us keeping it within sickbay. Sickbay is unless we're going to start to be trying to turn sickbay into some sort of emergency fallback point. Right now, we've got the thing which is both causing it and what we need to poke to make sure the situation's better, and where a lot of people are going to be coming to and could be afflicted at any minute.
I have had this thought, Lieutenant, but I'm also concerned that moving it now could be more dangerous than it is worth.
I mean, right now, you and Ensign Casey would strike me as the individuals who we need looking at this thing.
I mean, more moving it could risk spreading this gas further throughout the ship.
I agree. I was more wondering actually of turning one of the cargo bays into more of an emergency aid shelter. I mean, no one's been particularly badly injured
yet.
Could we just turn the EMH on and...
Might not be a bad shout, Vance. We might need sickbay to be somewhere to fall back for the more serious cases. If we start getting people that are more seriously injured, they're going to need the resources that are in sickbay. Whereas cuts, bruises, broken arms, those can be dealt with elsewhere if it's all possible, and it does then keep people away from whatever the hell this is.
I will see about getting I've got a security team I can get to secure one of the cargo bays, and they can deal with the damn EMH themselves. We'll spread the word.
I can send a medical team down to accompany them.
All right, I'll get them up here, and then they can escort your team down nice and safe.
You are staying in sickbay, though, right?
I was personally... Well, that kind of depends on you, Lieutenant. Do you want me to come up to the bridge and for us to deal with the situation? Or shall I maintain security here at sickbay?
I'd maintain security where you need to at the minute. For now, the bridge is all right. we don't particularly need anybody from security coming up here just yet. It sounds like the rest of the Iskandar needs your services far more than we do.
If you will take my advice, Lieutenant, I would say that you should not be letting anybody onto or off the bridge.
That makes a lot of sense.
Understood, Doc. I will bear that in mind.
Potential quarantine situation. Have you heard from the captain? I'm so bored! She's so patient!
Well,
I imagine GM will be checking unless the comms have gone down. Atharnan will be checking in on her.
You will know that
Everything's fine here.
Fine, but incapacitated.
Still stuck, still cold.
Would you be able to pass on then the information about where the gas is coming from and that they should probably not breathe it in?
Give me, Izzy, give me a quick insight and science roll. This will be
a cheeky insight science roll, is it?
Cheeky.
Cheeky. Ooh, that's a cheeky double one.
Cheeky roll.
Yeah,
Double
that's
one.
motherfucking momentum.
Oh.
That's a cheeky snake eyes.
Motherfucker. I was wow.
Arcady fucking wow.
Cheeky 4 successes.
Oof, bit tasty, don't mind. When you're going on the deck of the Iskandar with your lads, and your lads say, "Let's get a cheeky double one." Your mate Atticus Vance, who is a complete ledge, and the lieutenant of banter.
All right, this is top. We're gonna
do a
smash
security
this,
clearance top Vance.
Let's just. You can spend this momentum immediately to gain 2 more bits of information.
Can I spend this momentum immediately to continue this Bance train?
We've got some top bands.
If you want
Admiral
speed
bands
All
here.
right. I'm
sorry, Michael.
no,
so sorry.
No, please. You can spend these 2 momentum to gain 2 bits of Bance, which will basically be the final stretch of understanding the alien.
Oh,
Is the alien just a complete banter lad? It's like, why have you infected this ship with your gas for the banter lads? For the banter.
He just wanted some fucking Nando's.
All right. It's up to
I thought
you.
I'd hop a cheeky lift.
The Archbishop of Banterbury is in sick.
I just wanted to punch out that nerd kid.
You can either spend 1 momentum and get some pretty useful information, and you'll save 1 momentum for next session, or you can use both momentums, and basically you will have a complete understanding of the alien.
I want that. Fuck it.
All right.
Boom, yeah.
Bring on the Bance.
That's literally the only lead we've got right now.
Yeah.
Is poke the alien.
All right. I'm going to send you.
Save it for
An
next
idea.
session.
He's
What
just
am I,
not
some
had
sort of
chance
nerd?
to say it yet because I've been being Cantos and I can't do 2
Do it.
at once.
Strange us up.
No, the doctor's doing a thing, so the doctor can do a thing first, and then Strange can interrupt and be like,
I've got to
I have
type
an
up
idea.
the whole thing. So
All right.
You go ahead.
Oh,
and
all right
play.
then.
Dr. Burroughs running, doing things.
Dr.
Dr.
Burroughs running, doing things. Like you two have just had your
I'm Vance.
mild bicker about like, well, I don't know what's going on. Well, I don't know what's going on.
I'm a meathead.
I don't think Borough is quite that angry, to be honest.
No, I'm exaggerating for comic purposes.
For the Bance.
For the balance. I have an idea of something that we could do.
Yeah.
I disagree with the doctor about moving it. I think we need to get this out of sick bay, somewhere more isolated, and if at all possible, off the ship.
I know it's not exactly fulfilling of all the finest ethos of exploration, but this thing is potentially going to kill us all.
Exactly.
Either
it needs to be more isolated than we can manage in sick bay and cut off in a way that doesn't require power, because of the power fluctuations that the Resovski had. Any force field-like isolation that we try and put on this is not guaranteed to hold.
Well, can we just try to return it to the Resovski? It was fine.
Return it to the Resovski, maybe put it in a shuttle.
Yeah.
And just...
A shuttle would be easier for us to control.
Exactly.
I guess that depends on if it's going to be safe to move.
That I don't know. And I don't know if we're going to be... If it's a case of moving it, are we going to have to do it by hand? Or is it going to be something that we can transport? That I don't know. And I suspect we're not going to know anytime soon, given that Linkovich has been awfully quiet.
Well, I'm sure that there are more than us who can... we can go down there ourselves. You and me could go down to the transporter pad if we needed to.
Absolutely,
do that,
yes.
and we can handle that.
Yes.
But no, I'm in agreement with you. Unless the doctor's got some kind of breakthrough coming up, then I'm very much in agreement with you, Lieutenant, on this. I think that the time for curiosity... Well, curiosity is killing the cats right now. And there ain't no satisfaction.
Exactly. And if we do put it on a shuttle, we can still analyse it if we want to.
We can drag it.
It's then contained, it's away from our people, and it is not going to be hurting anybody else.
We can drag it around
Strange
with a tractor
looks
beam
pointedly first at Aldous through the in the quarantine, and briefly glances at Casey.
Just to jump in, Izzy, with that information, you feel free to ask me any follow-up questions that you want. I trust you to kind of make those words sound a little bit more scientific.
But on fucking chance.
Casey does not notice the look.
Vance does. I rolled. I got a natural 1 as well. I want momentum in my self-imposed roll.
All right.
But roll to care.
I'll add it to the momentum counter, I guess.
Oh,
just get to roll
that
a
on your roll
dice
to
and
care?
then
You rolled a 20, was it, man?
Yeah, I rolled a 20 on my roll to care. I mean, if nothing else, the thing was being able to be still powered when still on the Resovski, so there shouldn't be any kind of a problem with that sort of thing. If it could still be powered on a husk of a ship being catapulted,
then there should be absolutely no problem with it being still powered and operational and anything else it needs to be on a perfectly functional shuttle.
Also, so long as it's not going to represent... Right now, I'm much more happy to play with its life than the lives of this crew.
Absolutely.
And for all we know, this thing is already directly responsible for the deaths of the entire crew of a Galaxy class.
I'm not inclined to let that kind of thing happen here anytime soon.
Agreed. I mean, that's something which the captain will have to sign off on, I imagine, and assuming we can still get in touch with her, but...
Right, if they've stopped talking.
I've literally just noticed that there's a message.
Oh, that's just the report.
Oh, all right. I won't worry too much about
that. Burrow's been doing some typing. Mike, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The fluctuations in temperature.
Yep.
Were I to run those through the computer and examine them on an actual molecular level rather than just flat out, this is a degree colder, this is a degree warmer, could I indicate any sort of sense or pattern or repetition or anything that might in some way twig as language?
Yes.
Then that's what Borov has been doing based on the information you've given me. Borov has been listening to this conversation, but has been pointedly not getting involved because of medicine, and is working on forming some sort of communication using my xenobiologist trait. or whatever it is, skill, that will allow me to be pushing the boundaries of medicines. But will not talk to either of these two unless approached. And is kind of taking over several consoles and has gone into sort of serious doctor mode.
It is easy to perceive that Burov has come across something of import by the sudden frantic nature of their work.
Doc? Lieutenant was wondering whether or not if you're actually sure if it's not going to be safe to move the stasis pod.
It was a working theory, but at the moment I couldn't be certain.
Do you have any other ideas yet?
Oh, yes. I'm going to attempt to communicate.
Do you know how? We're not just tippy-tapping?
Well, part of the tippy-tapping is figuring out the fundamentals of how this creature communicates, but I think I am on a train of inquiry.
That's great.
Not to rush you, Doc, but how long a train of inquiry are we talking here? Because
I assure you, Lieutenant, I am not dragging my heels.
I'm sure you're not, but is it something that you reckon is going to be taking hours, minutes?
Hopefully not.
Is it something that could be done
from a distance?
From a distance?
No. I'll be okay. Thank you, though.
That's not really the kind of the crux of the issue.
We're thinking about moving the stasis pod off of the Iskandar.
I know that's what you're thinking. I was listening. I am stood right next to you.
Yes, but I am. It is moving the stasis pod off of the Iskandar is something that's certainly we would like to be doing sooner rather than later,
and
if at all possible.
Compile. And why is that, Lieutenant?
Well, because this thing is possibly driving the crew crazy and making them potentially start killing each other.
This thing is, yes, causing some sort of emotional and mental distress to the crew of the ship. My current working hypothesis is that it's something to do with higher brain or the function that is supposed to be triggered when one is asleep is trying to trigger when one is awake, which is causing a disconnect, which is causing
so people are angry sleepwalking. Great, but
something like that, yes.
Something like that.
But I also believe that this creature is intelligent. This is not a situation.
I'm sure it is.
We're not.
No. The situation we had about a month ago when we dealt with that mold, which was certainly intelligent to communicate with, but was dangerous and lower level function. I believe that the gas and the creature are two separate entities, and that while the creature is of lower brain function, the gas is of higher brain function, and therefore
the gas is its brain,
and therefore it is no. Your brain is Lieutenant Vance. Your body, without your brain, whilst very fine, is useless. It is not a separate person without your brain. You need the two together in order to exist. I believe that the creature could exist without the gas, although would live perhaps a less optimal life, and that the gas is the higher brain function, which, whilst it can clearly exist outside of the creature, it relies on the creature for protection on its homeworld, which is why the creature is designed for an existence on some terrible planet's surface. And I believe we can communicate with the gas, which means that we can have first contact with a higher life form that we have not previously interacted with. And that is the purpose of being a Starfleet explorer, which is why we cannot simply vent this creature out into the cold, heartless vacuum of space.
Also,
we have a duty to it to investigate.
But we also have a duty of care to everybody that is on this starship.
You do not have to tell me about duty of care.
I know I shouldn't have to tell you about duty of care, but we should be
Lieutenant
making sure that
Doctor.
our explorations and curiosity do not endanger everybody else that is here.
Lieutenant Strange, I believe you are becoming emotional.
Couple things. One, how long do you think it's going to take for you to talk to it, Doctor?
This has another few minutes left on compiling, and then I think I should be able to make some progress.
Second, this ain't our call. This is not our decision to make. We bring this to Lieutenant Kantos or to the captain.
And to the captain.
There is, at this moment, a flurry of activity. In the kind of crowded area, people are suddenly backing off in high alerts, surprise. Security officers are grabbing phasers, and there is the kind of startled yelling that you'd associate with something's going wrong immediately within your proximity. And as you all turn towards the commotion, you see that the crowd is parting from around Ensign Casey, whose eyes are completely white, and that gas escapes his lips. And that is where we will call Star Trek for tonight.
I'm gonna shoot him.
Punch him in the face!
I'm gonna punch myself in the face.
Clearly, it was trailer bait. In the trailer for the new series of Iskandar, you saw the chief of security just punching out Casey, and everyone was like, "What could it mean?"
But they also saw Ryder punching out Casey.
What's the trailer for this episode? Just to see it, a montage of Casey being punched in the face,
and Strange being grappled by his own engineers.
Oh, that was such a good episode. Oh, so full of energy. I got to be
really
Starfleet this time.
You got to be Starfleet. We got to be the ones like, no, we don't want to fucking die for a crazy brain alien.
I was like, dying for a crazy brain alien is what
Starfleet
Starfleet is about.
Other people die. Like, he's quite happy to sacrifice himself to investigate the crazy brain alien, or indeed to save everybody else from the crazy brain alien.
Security chief, I meant to be the least explorery.
I got to be the doctor.
We're not engaging more people. Like, when?
Strange, you just have issues.
First contact!
Yes, he does!
First contact!
Stuck in a fucking ready room.
Hey, we're getting to know each other as friends.
We're gonna be buddies.
Look, I'm just repressing and you're being a Vulcan. It's fine.
What I love is that this session, we had the kind of repressing being a Vulcan.
Yeah.
Next session, we'll still be trapped. And next session, we can start the psychoanalysis.
We've had the scene where nothing really progresses except for we have a little bit of chewing on the fat. But soon.
Maybe that's why I don't trust my father. Shh. Okay.
No, it's her mother she's got issues about.
Oh, shh.
I'm glad you all have fun.
Yeah, it's good shit.
So, beloved Trash fam, if you want to find out what happens next, and I know I do, then you're going to want to be tuning into this exact channel at 8 o'clock GMT on Monday, the 19th of March. That is Monday, the 19th of March, which is in 2 weeks' time. Of course, if you have not had enough of very exciting high-octane roleplay, and in fact you are not sick of this face, then you're going to want to tune in to this channel tomorrow night at 9:30 GMT. Significantly later. I'm going to be so tired. Well, we have foreign guests, so we have to match our time zones up. Damn it!
They don't do bands.
They don't understand top bands. However, if you want some top bands, then you will very much enjoy Nishikawa High School Mystery Club, which is going into a very exciting next episode. If you're interested in knowing what happened after Mrs. Nishikawa was shot in the head and apparently killed, the boys fled from the scene of the crime with the warehouse on fire, with the potential Leaf Shadow Demon in hot pursuit, and what is going to happen between our beautiful boys of Yoshida and what's the other one called? Tanaka, then you're going to want to tune in tomorrow for Nishikawa High School Mystery Club. And mostly I just wanted to drop that in just so I could see the faces of my beautiful Iskandar group.
That shit escalated from a mystery club.
So I want to explain myself right here, because in anime you have a combination of like dorky high school fun and really fucking dark shit. So they're in a dorky high school fun and they watched a murder.
With the anime tropes there of it's a high school, but also people get shot in the head.
Yep. Also, none of those boys are in high school. Look at them.
Yeah, they're all at least 22, if not older. Because that is how anime do.
So that'll be top. There will be bands. And of course, I would like very much for the next session of Stasis to be now. So, Mike, get your notes out. It's Stasis time.
All right.
Now. Forever.
And also, I would like everyone to share a beautiful moment of love for Mike, who has run this session despite being quite ill indeed. Because I know how bad it is, and it's terrible, and you have nothing but love from me. And if I'd had to GM back when I had it, I would have just glared at everyone and not GM'd anything.
It's shingles. I don't want the mystery.
Okay, I didn't want to just out what you had. Like, Mike's got shingles.
But it was weird. Like going when I had.
He's
what
got
you
dick
had,
rot.
You know,
when I had what you had, terrible cramps.
Well, but I heard what you had being shot in the eye.
Well, that was very painful, and I in fact did not GM last week because I had shot in eye syndrome.
Shot in eye syndrome. It's a terrible affliction.
It's the worst. It's catching.
Or a lack of catching.
It's not a good. Shut up! Oh, you can't catch an arrow.
You can't. It's
not
not a good idea.
It's against the rules.
Yeah, you can.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should, but you can.
Eagle-eye viewers might have seen the point where the threat dropped from 1 to 0 when I decided that Casey was going to be infected.
Oh, I didn't in fact spot that.
I will admit, I had called very early on that Casey was going to be infected.
Oh, well, I didn't. But also,
it's the kicking the little puppies trope that happens in quite a lot of
Here's our whoopee. Break
my,
the whoopee.
My genre-savvy brain tells me that means it's good, because, like if I was watching Star Trek, I'd either go, well, they're about to do a very gutsy thing and kill off Casey, which I don't think they're going to do, or we're going to find a way of solving it and it's going to be fine.
Exactly.
Like the main characters become infected, and I'm like, oh, now we care. Now there are stakes.
Now we care, but now we can also actually resolve the plot, because now we've got to the point where people we care about are infected by the problem.
Yeah, like that time that Gwen Anderson was touched by a weird machine monster. No, moss monster.
Insta-death.
Instantaneously died.
We don't talk about those times.
Episodes.
They were dark times. It was the pilot episodes. Gwen didn't test well with the audience members. Sorry, Gwen.
No.
Gwen was in the pilot, but then Gwen got picked up for a different show, they had to do some quick reshoots.
Gwen was way too good to be didn't test well. Gwen was, she's doing movies now.
Damn it,
It's
Gwen.
one of those things where they get like a really well-known actress who's done like loads of other stuff.
It's like you're our Michelle Young.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it, Gwanderson.
Anyway,
so that has been Iskandar Stasis, episode 3. Tune in a fortnight for episode 4, which will be terribly exciting. We have been the crew of the Iskandar. I was going to say we've all been trash, but Emily in particular has been trash for whatever the hell that was.
It was an excited noise.
And now
I'm very keen.
And now, if you lovely people will stick around, we're going to end there, and we are going to be hosting our beloved trash friend, Sunny Kitty, who is off doing something terribly dramatic. I believe playing Deep Rock Galactic. I don't know what that is, but it sounds really on brand with whatever we're doing right now. So, bye.
Bye.